Hey guys, so let's do part two. So part one was my brain spill about videography and kind of my thoughts on how I would get into it, um, talking to my younger self or someone that's net new to video in general. Um, this part two here is going to be just about getting into the freelance world, how I quit my job or um, how I got into doing this business full time, and just the thoughts of that, because it definitely was scary, and hell, it's still pretty scary now, but it's also awesome because I get to spend so much time with my wife and my little girl. So for me right now in this stage of life, that's more important. And okay, so just give you a little background and context. I went to university for criminology and psychology. Thought I might want to be a lawyer or something, Asian parents, right? Got to do something that they can explain and brag to their friends about. But ultimately, it wasn't for me. Just, I don't know, yeah. The creative side of me was like, you know what, this might be torture. So, yeah. Abandoned that, finished the degree anyways, and then did a postgrad in international marketing. And that was just sort of an easy degree, just something to put myself more in the business world. So that way when I applied for jobs, it just was more business related, right? And that made sense. So over the years, in the last decade, it was a mix of jobs of just an assortment of startups, a learning management system company. I worked at 3M for like a hot second, a quick startup that did sort of online content. And so just a mix of everything. And then, so just mainly marketing, digital marketing, a lot of marketing automation type stuff. Funny enough, it's like a lot of things I know I should be doing, but I'm not necessarily doing for my business. I've kept my business pretty simple. We'll get into that. But yeah, so went through all that. And then I've always built websites, started WordPress and just photography on the side. And funny enough, basically the same business model I'm doing now for Atomic Pixel. I tried that in like 2010 probably, and it just wasn't, I don't know whether my heart wasn't in it or just there was no traction, or at that time people didn't really get websites, or at least locally. A lot of the local businesses I was chatting with, they were like, well, we get a lot of foot traffic, we're fine. E-commerce, I don't know if that was around much back then, maybe starting. So it's funny, it's just maybe just, yeah, wrong timing, because I'm basically doing the same thing now, but I've kind of cut back on the website stuff. I still do that, some website SEO work when that comes through, but more so I enjoy the video side of things. So I like the wedding films I enjoy, but then I don't want to work every weekend, so then I do a lot of commercial stuff. I like doing explainer videos for businesses or interview style content. I like helping people try to get more comfortable behind the camera, so maybe that could be my thing. I'm also trying to figure out what's my thing in video that would make me different or better than other competitors in my area, and I feel like that could be something. It's just the kind of the coaching and the making them feel comfortable and guiding them to making better video content. I feel like there's something there. But anyways, after my whole marketing stint of a bunch of different jobs, I've had a lot of different lives. Was in healthcare for about 3 to 4 years, right before I started this Atomic Pixel full time, and that was great. Really insightful to see the inner workings of our healthcare system and just that world. It's another beast in itself, but yeah, really just brought another different level of skill sets for me. And so, literally beginning of COVID, right as the pandemic hit, the program that I was a part of sunset. So the funding, things moved around, that program stopped. My choices were either to go apply back at the hospital and something within change management or one of the digital health teams, something along those lines. Or, like I said, I've always been freelancing some creative stuff on the side, photography and web design, and I was starting to get more into video. So I was like, why don't I just give myself a year? We got some severance and I got some money banked. Let's try it out. Worst case scenario, I could just apply, get another job again, and so be it. So that's what we did. And not to say I'm super rich by any means. There's been up and down years. It's been about 4 years now, right? But for the most part, I feel like I've made what I would have made working in healthcare, and some years more, some years less, but in that range. And it's nice to know that, like, even without me really heavily marketing, because I'm not, my biggest marketing piece is likely my website. So my SEO is good. So if you need help with that, reach out. But for me, that's where a lot of, or I would say 99.9% of my leads come through. Other ones are referrals and a random one on Instagram here and there maybe. But most people are Googling, videographers in London, Ontario, or wedding videographer in London, Ontario, commercial, whatever it may be. So I'm keeping a mind on that, and I need to make more content on my blog, but these pages are ranking well, I'm getting inquiries, and these are where the projects coming from. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And what I'll say to those people that are in a 9-to-5 and want to jump, do not just quit your job and jump into it because that's what you're seeing on the internet. It's like, follow your dreams, bro. Like, life's too short, yada, yada, yada. No, we have families, we have bills, we have mortgages, whatever you might have. Get the bills paid, but learn, and this is what I've told my friend, she was having this issue, and it's like, just learn to partition your mind so that way you do a good enough job during the day. And I know it sounds bad, but that's the truth. Do a good enough job during the day and get your work done. Like, don't ruin your brand, your reputation in that sense. And then try to muster up the energy in the evenings and weekends to work on what you do enjoy. So hopefully that you enjoyed it enough, or you want it bad enough to get out of the 9-to-5, that it should fuel you, and know that, like, it could be a thing. And so that way it gives you a time to test things out. It gives you just a little less pressure in the sense of how am I going to eat? How am I going to pay rent if you're starting literally from zero? So you want to start it while you have a job, right? Don't get rid of your old shoes before you get your new shoes, kind of thing, right? And so that's what I would do. And then once your business, and this is all relative, like, you could start, you can quit when you're making just as much, or a lot of people like to be safe, and I hear it on podcasts, don't quit until you've doubled your income. Totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. But again, just at the very least, make sure you have a Easter egg, a little nest, in your bank account of cash you can pull from. And so, yeah. And speaking of having a little bit of a buffer in your bank account, that's, for me, after about the first year and a bit, once I've started to accumulate kind of a little cushion there, then I felt good. Then I felt better. Then I felt that, this is a thing. But even in reality, I don't think I really found my stride in things till my third year in. So the idea is to survive. You need staying power. You need grit, right? That perseverance to keep pushing when, like, you have shit days or shit weeks. It's just, it can be a grind. It's tough. Like, you're giving up this, pseudo stability, because any job you could be fired from, or the business is closed down. But the pseudo stability of a 9-to-5, and coming from a Viet family, like, Asian families, man, like, that stability, that check, that pension, that insurance benefits, right? It's huge to them. But as a first gen here, and see, like, the rich, it lies in the autonomy of your own time. I get to hang out with Millie. I get to literally have a nap with my kiddo if I want to. Certain days I'm tired, I'm like, yeah, let's just go nap, bud. And then when she naps, I nap too, and I'll work a little bit later on, or maybe not, whatever. It's up to me, right? The downside of that is you have to have your own discipline, because it's just like homework. Like, it's just like the end of the week, your project's due, and teacher, AKA client, isn't going to hound you. There's going to be like, well, where is it, right? And that's up to you. And if you don't do it, this time you're not getting docked grades, but you're going to be losing money. You're going to be ruining reputation. And so if you want to have, staying power in this business, you got to do good business. You got to do good work. So it's up to you to manage your time. But I'm just saying, it's so nice that, Millie is on our time, so we can sleep till like 10 a.m., whatever, and we'll get up, have a slow morning, some coffee, then I'll get to work, right? So you can make your own schedule, whatever type of person, early bird, night owl you are. But the downside of that is sometimes maybe being at home too much, I want to hang out with her too much, or I feel guilty that I'm not. So now I'm creating a kind of a regimen for myself and going out with a friend or two to like coffee shops and doing work, and just making sure that I do some of that to socialize, but also to, give myself time to think properly. Because I think that's the problem when you become a parent and you're trying to grow a business. Sometimes you're just like, I can't think. I just need time to think. And that's where like walks come in, and that kind of stuff. Just some kind of low energy, outdoorsy stuff can be really helpful for getting creative again and giving your mind just time to think and detox from all the stimuli from your computer, your phone, socials, YouTube, that kind of stuff. So that's that balance, that whole balance. I mean, I'm not going to speak on that too much. I don't have it down. I'm still working it out. But my wife also has a small candle business, which is our basement, like takes over our basement. And so that's a juggle, right? When I'm watching Millie, then she works, but then I can't, and vice versa. So it's like, how do you balance both? And people say do the daycare thing or whatever, but then I believe that I want my little one to be home with us as much as we can. I feel like she's just benefited so much from that, and also in these first 4 or 5 years to me is so crucial. So I just want to be around as much as I can and document her life as much as I can, and that's fun for me too. And so that's the whole philosophy of just our parenting. But do whatever works for you and your family. But the idea is that if you're going to get into a business, you have to think of them and think of you guys. It's different leaving 9 to 5 if you were a single guy versus now you got a family to take care of and feed. It's a different story, right? Obviously. But if you hate your 9 to 5 bad enough and you have something else you enjoy, then let's work on that. Hopefully that fuels you, that feeds your soul a little bit, and then you can eventually, hopefully, leave your 9 to 5 or not. Maybe your 9 to 5 is easy enough that it's okay to do that, and then you just have your creative stuff on the side. No one says you have to always be a full freelancer and full creative, because that has, again, like its own challenges as well. So do whatever mix works for you. Now, how would I start getting clients? Well, I think the easiest way is to start doing free work or creative work, but it's all free work, right? You got to build a portfolio. You got to try to get in front of clients. You got to try to create the work that you want more of. If you're just creating for fun, do whatever you want. If you want to start making money with something, you got to at least, and like there's always that debate of niching down, not niching down, but I think you at least have to have something to show. You can't go to a real estate agent and show just nothing but portraits. Like that doesn't translate. Or if, a lot of people I'm meeting, a lot of photographers that are coming up and they're like, I want to do this full time. I want to just like take pictures. And I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? What would your business be? And a lot of them actually, funny enough, are like the boudoir. I'm like, okay, I guess. Honestly, I mean, sure, it's fun, if that's your jam, but I don't know a lot of people paying for boudoir, because then you're asking for the clientele to have enough money to pay well so that you could do this constantly or more often. So it's not that you can't do it, and I know there are those that just do that full time, but I'm saying it's harder to do. An easier thing to do would be something kind of like the boring stuff, like maybe I do corporate headshots, maybe I do real estate, maybe I just do that that type of boring corporate-y stuff, events, corporate events, that kind of thing. And so, because those just pay better, and then there's more kind of referral work that can happen with that stuff. I also actually say weddings. I think weddings get shit on a lot for just being sort of not art, or it's not whatever. Weddings are the hardest thing I do, hands down. It physically is mentally taxing, physically taxing. It's crazy. It beats you up. Like, I'm hungover. My back is broken. My arms are broken. My neck. It's a hard gig, but people don't seem to appreciate it. They think it's just like, because it's not real art. It's just like just shooting a wedding. It's just like another day or something. It's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why people don't like it, but when you put the thought into it, the effort, the care, like you're there documenting someone's huge day. It's a milestone in their lives. Where the only time that all their friends and their family get to party together and it's their most expensive party at that. So you got to put that care and you got to want to be there for them. But what I'll say is this: if you can do weddings, I feel like that translates to everything. If you can do wedding photos or wedding video, then that translates to when you do commercial work or you do in-studio product stuff. You're like, this is so easy because the pace is dictated by me. It's not crazy. Or even if it is rushed, it's never as rushed as a wedding. A wedding just works so fast. You have to be so reactive and proactive, anticipating what's to come, anticipating how to corral everybody. Your communication skills step up a notch. You got to mingle with people. You got to be personable. It's like customer service all day. So I think there's so many valuable little skills that you pull from weddings that will apply across business. And the other beauty of it is, like, I think weddings are the easiest way to make good money with your camera if you're new to this making money with your camera world. Meaning, you can easily start at like $1,500, $2,000, and then work your way up to, I think, reasonably, $4,000. And that's kind of an average. Like here in London, I think we're capping out at the 4,500 mark, and that's where I'm at for my wedding videos. But if I went to a bigger market like Toronto, then I could probably step things up even to like 6. But it all depends, right? Like, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to do volume, if you want to just do less weddings but more of them. Anyways, that's the whole thing. But I think consider weddings, and by the way, do weddings for free first, or better yet, second shoot for somebody. Try not to take on weddings solo initially for yourself, because you don't want to mess up someone's day. Just out of respect, like, don't oversell yourself. Know where you're at, but like, I would say there's still, again, you don't know what you don't know, and there's a rhythm and patterns to the wedding day. So I would say second shoot, get the feeling for the flow and kind of what needs to be done and how things work. And then from there, you do cut 2 or 3. You should have the confidence in, like, working through your days, right? So, again, I put it, and I said this before in another video I did, it's akin to squash. When you first play squash, you're running around with like a chicken with the head cut off, and you're just diving for stuff. You don't know where the ball's going. You're just trying to react to it. Once you start to get good at it, then you can anticipate. So then you're like, okay, a dig from this corner only has maybe 2 options, and I can kind of follow that. And the pace of the game slows down tremendously. I love squash, so that's why I use that analogy. But weddings are the same thing. Once you understand it, it's not like, what's happening next? Oh my God, am I gonna have time to set up for this shot? Am I gonna miss this thing? You just find a way to work within the parameters and try to plan out the day as best you can with the couple to know that I need an extra bit of time here and here, and mentally, like, I'll get my drone up there, or that's the time I'll run into the DJ and plug my audio gear in. Things like that. It's not as hectic as it was initially. Some weddings are out of your control and they will be hectic, but at least you can react quickly. And then, like I said, if you can work in like the craziest of crazy moments, when you get into studio or other type of shoots where it's just on your time, it feels like a different world. It feels like this is almost too easy. It feels crazy. So I think there's something to be said there about taking on weddings. So look into that. And then, over time, do some free work, build your portfolio with the things you want to do. So put out to the world, put out to Instagram, website, the things you want to do more of. And then eventually you'll see what even within that kind of small group of things you're trying, you'll hopefully hone down into the things you like to do the most of, and then start to build your brand around that. So that's what I would do. That's how I would get into it. And then a matter of getting consistent clients is just sort of networking, doing that over and over, having good SEO, running some ads on Instagram and Facebook. You're testing out a bunch of things. And I'll say this, all my years of marketing, and even what I'm doing now, I need to do more marketing, to be honest. But just know that marketing is just testing and iterations. Just like YouTube, testing iterations. But you just got to do it, right? That's the problem. Consistency is always the problem. Posting is always the problem. So for me, I'm still trying to find out my method, and I think these talking methods, the video breakdowns, sort of the lowest friction method for me, until just to see how that goes. Because eventually, I'm not going to want to shoot weddings when I'm older, right? Like, it's going to be too taxing, and I don't know, the old guy at the wedding, I don't know, does that happen often? Maybe not, I'm not sure. But, or the commercial stuff, like sometimes even those shoots can be long days depending on what's going on. So I want to be able to pick and choose what I want to do more of. And then I'd love to do more teaching. Hence why, again, all this is my preemptive, my way into it, I suppose. I did do some teaching at a college that was local to my city for a little bit. And so that was a nice, foray into that educational world and seeing how that side of things work. Taught online for a little bit for the college as well. So this is where I want to start bringing that into my own products, and that way I can control what I'm delivering and making sure that I can provide the most value and explain things and do things how I want to do it. So again, just like I tell my little brother, in his 20s, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. And I think the idea is you just got to try so many things. Got to keep trying. And then hopefully through all the trying, you'll figure out what you don't want to do. And in that, hopefully it leads you to what you do want to do. And there's also a paradox in there as well. So combine that lesson with sometimes the things that we didn't want to do, but if we just happen to be good at it, eventually we'll want to do more of it. So whether you come across something you genuinely want to do or figure out something that you're good at that makes you enjoy it, that's another avenue too. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully that was useful, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.